joining us, and welcome to Public Service at SoWal House. This all started with an idea just to, why don't we bring in some of the most successful entrepreneurs that we know to come to SoWal House and share some key ingredients to their success with an audience that I believe are also world-class creative entrepreneurs down here in South Walton, Florida. So our first guest for the series, I'm so excited to have him here, is Brandon T. Adams, multi-Emmy award-winning producer and best-selling author of The Road to Success. Brandon, thanks so much for coming by, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's I love last minute things and coming together and just having a conversation, and you just don't know where it's going to go.
Right, absolutely. So let's start this off with one of my favorite phrases. When the universe speaks, she does not whisper. Mm-hmm. Right. I took that to mean I can no longer discard coincidences, right? All I see in coincidences are opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? Why did the universe create this opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and I did not know each other at all a week ago.
Now that I think of it, it's been a week, yeah.
Right.
We did a Zoom call. I was in a hotel room in Wisconsin, and that's when I first met you. And then I gave this idea, why don't we do this? And here we are.
Right. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And all of a sudden, here we are in Rosemary Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
Hanging out with a room full of
amazing people.
Yeah, a room full of amazing people, and I'm just really excited to really get down to your story. So is it 2 or 3?
2. If you count up my
so
wife's, we have 4. She won 2, I won 2. We won them together, but okay. Yes. Yeah,
we'll include her. And we'll include Samantha. Yeah. We'll include Samantha in this as well. So you guys took your experiences. Now your Emmys that you've won so far were not fiction, right? So they're
documentary. Yeah. So we
right?
won, and there's a crazy story around it, which we'll get into. But one was around a TV series we did called Success in Your City. We were on this mission to literally travel the country and find like the true meaning of success. Back in 2017, I'd had some success in life and business, whatever you call success. And I was sitting on a beach in Puerto Rico, and then I was sitting with my girlfriend, now wife, and I said, what are we gonna do next? And I always had this like crazy ass idea of living in 12 cities in 12 months. And I thought, why don't we go live in 12 cities in 12 months? And we were having a pina colada, by the way, having a drink. The best ideas come from that.
There you go.
And so, okay, we agreed to that. Hour goes by into the next drink. And I said, because I had just got done filming another TV show, and my co-host wasn't going to do another show, another season. And so I said, why don't we film a show around it? That took a little more convincing. But we ended up committing to that on that beach, June 9th, 2017. And as soon as we got back home, we literally started planning the whole thing. Okay, what cities are we going to? What are we going to do? What's the show going to be about? We need talent. Okay, I recruited executive producers. I recruited the director. I did all these different things. And long story short, come that October, we did a mini test run. So we did a 33-day trip. We went to, it was like 8 or 9 cities. We spoke in different cities and shared our vision, said, hey, if you want to join as a sponsor, here's what we're doing. And so a lot of people laughed at us. They just like, oh, what, you're going to do a YouTube show? You're going to do this? What are you going to do? Because we had no network deal at that time, but we were going to create it and make it happen. I had already had a show out, but it was like a new concept. And so did that, and then we ended up just doing it. December 27th that year, I go by dates because like I remember this like it was yesterday. We left, I'm from Iowa, a small town of 700 people in Iowa that nobody's heard of, Garnavillo, Iowa. And we left my house and we drove to Scottsdale, Arizona, our first city, and we started doing the show. And so we started on our mission. And that was the beginning, which led into a whole thing around success. And I guess I would ask everybody here to think, what is success to you? And it's funny because you're saying success, and part of me is like, what is success? Oh, you're successful, but what is success? I've made a lot of fucking money. I've lost a lot of money. I've had the Emmy Awards. I've had people tell me I'm gonna go nowhere in life. I've faced bankruptcy. I've seen to the top of the hill. I've seen the bottom. What is success? And at the end of the day, what I found out is success is what you make it. Everybody in this room has a dream, has a vision that's different than one another's. I mean, we may have collaborative ideas, but I found out when you really figure out what your version of success is, the sooner you figure out the answer to that, the sooner you're going to achieve your success. And whether it's doing a show or it's going and creating your own coffee shop, or maybe being the best mother you can be with your children. And so that's kind of the emphasis of the show, what we did. We traveled the country, and yes, we won a few Emmys in the process of doing that.
I love that. I love that. I love the fact, Brandon, that you didn't wait on funding to do the thing.
No.
Right. And I always operate under, once you have the idea, go do it. Right. Go shoot it.
Yeah.
Right. Don't wait, especially, if it's a career-based idea, if it's something that you long to get into the space, just nudge your way into the space and do it.
The most creative people figure it out. People say I don't got the money. That's BS. There's always a way. Right. My background was crowdfunding. I learned how to raise money. I've raised, about 60 million. That's nothing compared to what my mentors have raised. But I learned how to raise money through the power of storytelling, video, digital marketing, a great product, a great proposition, opportunity. But I use my background in crowdfunding to raise money from people as sponsors and creatively to be a part of the show, to help fund the show. And I also put a lot of my own money in. But if I was going to say, hey, we need sponsors, if we don't have the sponsors today, we're not going to do it.
Don't do it. Right.
I just did it. And then eventually it came. But so many people, they get halted by the reasons why they can't do something. When you think about what are the one or two things I can actually do to be able to figure that out. And so that's what we did. We just did it. I mean, we did the casting. We had the film crew. We funded it. We shot it. We distributed it. We did all that stuff. And I learned so much in the process that you cannot learn at any kind of school beyond the school of doing.
The school of hard knocks.
The school of hard knocks. Yeah.
One of my mentors said something that just fundamentally changed my thinking when it came to taking risks. Right? Mm-hmm. He said most people fail or don't succeed they don't go as far as they wanted to go, because
which is scary to think about.
Yeah. Right? They think in terms of next logical steps, right? Mm-hmm. We have to stop thinking in terms of next logical steps and start thinking in terms of next logical risks, right? Mm-hmm. Risk tolerance has a value.
Yeah.
Right. So high risk tolerance means you and I share a little bit of the same DNA, right? So we have very high risk tolerances. Yeah. Which is why we've done the
ups and downs.
I've been down, I've been up, I've been down, right? It's that volatility has to do with we're making risk-based decisions. We're thinking next logical risk instead of next logical step.
Well, I also look at it too is like, if you're in your comfort zone, you're always going to get what you always did. And it's like, for me, I always want to do something out of my comfort zone. And people call it risk, but I know it's cliche. If it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. But really, if it doesn't literally kill you, it's not that big a deal. Like, you can make more money. You can people fear, this is why what holds most people back is they fear what others will think, whether it's their mother, their father, their maybe so-called friends, could be their significant other. It could be society. They fear what those people think. Mm-hmm. And I personally didn't care what they thought, because I would much rather have them say their things about me than one day wake up and always wonder what if, and be old and be like, oh, I didn't go after what I did. I'm 32 years old. I've got a lot of life to live, hopefully. But I can say that I literally have went after everything that I wanted in life, and I have no regrets. Now, were there a lot of obstacles along the way? Yes, but I'm glad I did it. And what I found out is when I put myself in very uncomfortable positions, very uncomfortable positions, I grew from it. And then my next opportunity that I went after, I felt invincible because I'm like, if that didn't kill me, honestly, nothing can take me down. I'm
Okay.
ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that one of those keys in my experience to success is like, I just don't have an allergy to failure.
Yeah.
Right. I've just done it so much that I won't say that I'm immune to failure. It hurts when it happens, right? But it's not really failure if you can translate that failure to a lesson, and then you capitalize on it. Right?
What you said is so true. I say it's happening for me, not against me. I believe in a higher power, and I say, okay, why is this happening? Like, what can I learn from this, and what can I do to move forward? Many people, they focus on the negative of what happened, and they dwell on it. I look at what can I learn from this situation. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. So, like in the book, which by the way, y'all get a copy of the book. I'd love to hear your real thoughts. My wife and I wrote it together. It's called The Road to Success: How to Achieve Success in Business, Life, and Love.
Best-selling book.
Yeah, best-selling book. What it does is it shares a journey of what we did for creating the show. And in one of the chapters, it talks about how, we went to Scottsdale, right? We filmed an episode. We featured Shea Hillenbrand, the two-time All-Star, played for the Red Sox, Dodgers. He left the game of baseball. He was made, $20 million. And then he went and put his money into like a farm, turned it into a zoo. Within 3 years, he lost everything.
Because he turned it in.
Turned it into a zoo.
That's why he lost it.
He literally 3 years later, zoo, foreclosure, wife left him. He's sleeping in his van, and he tried to kill himself by drinking a bunch of vodka and a lot of pills. And he woke up, and that's when he found God, is what he said.
Right.
And so that story we ended up winning an Emmy for, but that story was so powerful. And so that was our first episode in store. We spent 45 days in this city that we didn't know. We found the locations, talent, everything. We brought it together. We filmed it. Everything was great. We go to the next city, Austin, Texas, which I love, by the way. Went to Austin. Well, while we were doing this show, I also had a business and other things going on. I had a business partner that I had to basically, it went south. I had to buy them out, and things were financially not good. I'm putting money into this while funding a show that cost me over $500,000. And so what happened is I hit the end of the road. Like, no sponsors were coming. We're in a city.
Right.
I am dealing with a financial crisis. My banker was calling me every day because I had negative thousands in my bank account, which, who's had that? I'm sure a few of you have. Yeah.
Many times over.
Many times over, yeah. At one point, I had $500,000 deep in the hole. Came out of that one, but this whole experience was not fun, especially when you have somebody you love who, at the time, my fiance, she's entrepreneurial, but not like me in understanding this stuff. And so we go to the next city, and we had the people we want to feature, but like no funding was coming in. I'm dealing with this business heartache, negative in the bank account. I'm on my last credit, literally credit card. And so my fiance was going through depression at the time, which is hard if you have a significant other that's going through depression, and you're trying to do something. I felt like I was bringing that on to her because I'm putting us on this journey. We're hosting the show.
Right.
It was hard. It was very hard. And she wanted to go home. And I was like the kind of person that if I go after something, I don't quit. Like, so much so it puts me sometimes in bad situations because I will not quit. And it started fucking with me because I'm like, I love this girl, but I also, like, my whole identity is I never quit. But what do I do here? And so it was Valentine's Day. I'll never forget this. And I found out in life when you're like at your lowest moment and you're about to have a great opportunity or a break, faith kicks in, and then you feel this feeling of peace. And so I told my clarity, peace, clarity,
Right.
just I feel like I found my way. And so we went to dinner on credit, last like $140 on a credit card. We had Mexican, had some margaritas. It was real. Got the tacos, went back, and it's funny how things work. I had 6 months prior had brought a deal together for a company, and I had got stock in it. And the next day it went public, and my stock was worth $1.3 million. And I went from having nothing to having money again.
Right.
And it was, I guess the moral of the story is like, if you believe and you really just go after something, it'll all work out. But most people would have went home. And I think we're tested. Most people would have went home.
You're exactly right.
I was rewarded. I rolled the dice again. I went back into the show, and we kept going. But that's just one example of how when you really stick with something and you're faced with adversity, I share that story because what's the opportunity that I can learn from this? That story I share today with other people, and I help them get through their obstacles because I've been there. I've seen it. And so that was a positive outcome, which ultimately led to some big things. It sucked in the moment.
Right.
It was not fun. And I'll never go back to that hotel room again. But
cursed.
Maybe the Mexican restaurant. But
there you go. Yeah. I mean, isn't it funny how I don't know what it is. Is it God? Is it Allah? Is it the universe?
Yeah.
Like I feel like the universe is all encompassing, right? So that's the umbrella for everything, right? Isn't it amazing how I totally believe this? If you work towards something and you put it out there in the universe, right? I'm doing this thing.
Yep.
Right. And the universe witnesses you moving in that direction. I'm not saying that the universe will pave the way.
No.
But I will say that the universe, every once in a while, you'll find a paver and it'll fit perfectly exactly where it needs to go in your journey.
It's 100%. And what also happens is along the way, you might hit an unseen obstacle, but in a way it's a success in disguise because it might take you in a different way that might lead you to another person that might lead you to an opportunity. So funny thing,
right?
That business partner that had a buyout in that situation or financial crisis, that person I don't talk to anymore, but because of that connection, it led to me to somebody that helped me get major sponsors for the show.
Right.
And so like one obstacle could turn into an opportunity. And it's having that mindset. I really believe, whatever everybody believes in, I believe in a higher power. And I think just believe in having faith.
Right.
Faith
Absolutely.
in what you're doing, faith in your journey, and then believe in it. And then some people forget the work. You got to actually put the work in. And then I really believe in surrounding yourself with the right people because that's the most monumental thing in that aspect. Because think about when you're going through hell, you better have people that are positive around you because coming from, I don't know who's a smaller town than 700 people.
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, how big?
Yeah.
How big?
It varies, probably at 1,500.
1,500? Okay, 700.
We had a red light.
Red light. We didn't have, by the way, we didn't have a stoplight in my county. True story. And so where I'm from, most people don't think like, let's say big, or they don't understand like all these other things out there. Some people have the negative mindset or they'd laugh at something I would go
Cynicism.
after.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you're going through an obstacle and you have those kind of people around you, you're going to want to quit. They'll be like, oh, just throw in the towel, buddy. Like, it's all right. Like, why are you working so much?
Right.
Then if you're around the other person that is going after something in life and they have their own way, they're going to cheer you on. They're going to be there to stay positive with you.
Right.
So I really think it's important to have the faith, believing the work, but having the right people around you, which is one thing I learned early on and I just kind of stuck with because if you have good people around you, anything is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Brandon.
Yeah.
There's a theory that I think correlates highly to. So you have like successful, people by society's definitions of successful, and then you have like ultra successful, right? So I would define like ultra successful as like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Right. Like we all have our own.
Like they
definitions
found
of
their own
success,
way
but-
in life in
Right.
that space, music.
Exactly. Yeah. So, there is this thing I call it the Hamburg scenario, right?
Yeah.
So, the Beatles would not be the Beatles that we know today had they not left Liverpool and lived in a one-room, four-bunk, 300 square
That made
foot,
them.
thing, a kind of apartment that was in the back of a nightclub. You guys know this story? I'll share it with you real quick, right? So the Hamburg scenario is all four Beatles bunked in this tiny little one-room apartment that didn't even have a bathroom, and they played 6-hour sets in this Hamburg nightclub. But they played from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. because the nightclubs are all open 24 hours a day. So nobody would come into the bar. Everyone would leave the bar at around 2 a.m.
Yeah.
and they're playing to an empty bar, but they have to keep playing. And that being in a very close quarters with a high degree of constraint, where your only option is to do the craft.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they actually started becoming very strong songwriters together. That's how they began to predict each other's movements. It's because they put themselves in a Hamburg like scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I've serial entrepreneur, right? So I've started businesses that have done well. I've started businesses that haven't done well.
Yep.
Right. When they do well, it feels amazing. When they don't do well, it totally sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
You learn something.
But you learn something, and you take that lesson and you capitalize it on. But one constant in every business that I've become a part of is I don't go towards that business if there's not a Hamburg scenario in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't do layups. Right. It just for me personally, it's a waste of time. It feels like a next logical step, not a next logical risk.
Mm-hmm.
And I correlate measures of risk with degrees of success. Like, how successful can this thing be?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, now I'm 46 going on 47, so I'm a little bit too old to bet the farm anymore. But
that's a new like 25 now.
Yeah,
these days.
yeah. I used to just habitually just bet the farm, do the thing, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But that constant has always been: is this a Hamburg scenario? Can I put myself in a position
Mm-hmm.
that there's only one way out, and it's to win?
It's like the story of who in here has read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Yeah, a great book written in 1937. It was, correct me if I'm wrong. I read the book 10 years ago. Changed my life. One of the principles in there, or one of the stories in there, is about how these warriors went to this island and they were outnumbered by far. And the main guy, whatever you call the sergeant, said, burn the ships, because if I burn the ships, there is no going back. Either we'll be victorious and we will win, or we will die here. Well, they went and they won. And so that story in life is, if you don't burn the ships, most people, they have the handicap to go back on. What I did in life is I burned the ships and never looked back. Right. After 3 episodes of my show, I sold my house. I sold 99% of my things. I sold 2 businesses, and I went all in. There was nobody more committed than me. And that's called conviction and belief. And we succeeded. And yes, we won Emmys and all that, but it's like that happened because I had to go all in. And the hardest thing for me is I was doing a couple different things. I had an event business. I was doing events, and I had ownership, and I actually owned part of an ice business. That was one of my stories. I owned packaged ice business. My dad started a long time ago.
You're the first Iceman I've ever met.
First Iceman and producer you ever met. I knew I had to sell the business because it was taking up a small percentage of my energy and focus. And it was a very difficult choice to make after it being around for 33 years. And I cried with my father, and we done. I got out. But I did those tough decisions I had to make, I made. And because of that, I was able to become successful in that endeavor. And so I burned the ships. And funny story, that book that changed my life 10 years ago, we produced a movie on it called Think and Grow Rich: The Legacy, which went on to be in 3 languages: Czech Republic, Spanish, English. It's been seen by millions of people, successful film. And that's just another example of something of where I went after it. I got a part of it. I took my knowledge and expertise to help them. And that's how I look at life. It's like, you burn your ships. If you really want something, you're going to figure it out, or you're going to make an excuse. I didn't want to be the person making an excuse. And just know it's what is the price you're willing to pay. Not everybody's willing to pay it, and that's all right.
And that's okay.
I mean, I almost lost my wife along the way. We broke up for a while. My family members, I went through a switch where they didn't talk to me anymore. I literally almost lost everything, literally everything. But that was the price I paid.
Right.
And I was successful because of it. but most people won't do that. So when I see people and they're talking about something like, I'm here to share, like I've been there and done that. I'm a lot to learn, but I did pay my price.
Right.
And I'm glad to be here to share it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's and thank you for being here to share it with us. You know, that old saying, you know, it's better than having a boat, having a friend with a boat,
Yeah.
right? I look at business failures right along the same path. One constant that I also see is every quantifiably successful person I know, and I define success as like someone that's as independence, right? If I had to sum success up to me, success means in one word, independence, right?
Which I love.
It just means you're able to do whatever you want to do, right? So,
and by the way, you don't need money for that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's yeah. So how much of your day in a 24-hour day are you the boss of, right? And that starts with your alarm clock, right? So one of the key success metrics for me, and I'm KPI driven, right, is how long until I no longer wake up to an alarm, right? So I don't wake up to alarm clocks ever, right?
I love that.
Unless it's a 6 a.m. flight, and then maybe I do it for that. But so once I said, okay, here's how I define success. Now I'm going to go seek out people that have independence, right? That have success. What's better than owning a boat, having a friend with a boat, right? There's a lot that goes into like just borrowing the knowledge, right? Borrowing the boat from people that are already there. That's a long way of kind of turning this into a question. What are your feelings about mentorship and the degree to which mentorship leads to success?
The second you think you're the smartest person, like you're in the wrong room. I want to be in the room with very wise people. We all need somebody to guide the way. I always said, find somebody who already achieved what you want to achieve, follow in their footsteps, figure a way to work with them, make them money. You need mentorship. I mean, some of my greatest mentors, now my business partners today, it took me 2-3 years to get into some kind of relationship with them. And that was studying them, researching them, paying for them to speak at my events, just constant building rapport. And then they became like family. And these people share with me wisdom from building billion-dollar companies, from going and doing these other things. I mean, my director's won many Emmys, and I didn't know anything about producing shows or any of that. But what I do, found a way to add value to him, and we helped each other. You need mentors. You need specialized knowledge in different industries. And I know it's cliche, but you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's very true. Look at who you surround yourself with. And some people in your life, over the years, some people come and go, and some people no longer of value in that relationship. Nothing I have against them, but the time has passed and it's on to the next level of my journey. And you really got to be very conscious of who you are spending your time with. And then also, again, the mentorship. There's very little that I know. I know much, but I know little.
Right.
And by knowing that is good.
Yeah,
you got to
absolutely.
seek guidance, and just being around you or anybody in this room, I can learn something. Heck, my wife, sometimes I was called a detective once because I asked so many questions, because every moment in life is opportunity to learn. Yeah. The Uber driver, at the coffee shop. Sometimes I get too deep with people. They're like a little worried, like, why are you asking all these questions? I just want to learn. You know what I mean?
Right. But how do you make a latte? But how does it actually happen? Yeah, I bug the baristas over there all the time. How do you make the leaf do the thing?
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's magic. It's magic. Well, so one of your mentors is Kevin Harrington, who wrote the foreword for your book, Road to Success.
Yeah.
Tell me how that. I mean, Kevin Harrington, by the way, is one of the original
sharks of Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. Started as seen on TV.
Infomercials.
We were just on a Zoom call with him last night.
Yeah.
Like he's like, hey, let me just call you on my cell phone. Like, you have Kevin's cell phone number, right?
So I want to give the background of this, and why I'm in town is gentleman up front, Gerard, who's here, who's like family now. We have a company called Today's Vow. We're here raising money, and so Kevin is we're all partners in that. But Kevin I met in 2015. This is a quick story. I want to share the power of like long game. In 2000, actually back up 2012, I invented this product called Arctic Stick. Cools and flavors drinks. I got some patents, trademarks. You can Google it later. You can see some crazy shit on it because I pitched in front of Shark Tank casting call. I did all these things. Right. And that was one of my first big endeavors I did by myself. Put over $100,000 into it, saw maybe 10 grand back. And but I learned from...
You made tens of dollars.
Yeah, I learned from the experience. And so here's where the story goes. I seek the mentor. His name is Cactus Jack Behringer, famous entrepreneur, inventor. And I hired him at 21 years old. I dropped 10 grand on the guy. By the way, I didn't have the money. I went and I raised the money and paid this guy cash because I believe in the power of mentorship. He became my mentor. Over the next 2.5 years, I spent over 25 grand with him. I'm a young 20-something-year-old kid. He had done a deal with Kevin Harrington on Shark Tank. And so I knew that. And so I knew I was one call away.
Separation.
Yes. And so I started studying Kevin. I started researching him, learning everything about him. And then 2015 comes, and I wanted to do this event in Iowa, which is called Young Entrepreneur Convention, to bring all these entrepreneurs together. And I created one of the largest entrepreneur events in Iowa for young entrepreneurs. And so that was my first year I did this event, and I wanted Kevin to speak. And so, again, at this time I was starting out, I didn't have a lot of money. I negotiated back and forth for like 4 months to get Kevin to speak at my event. And it was way more than I had. And so I remember when I committed to get him to speak, I made a deposit down, and I knew I didn't have the next payment for the actual to pay him to come. I was prepared to sell my truck. Yeah. And that's, again, belief, conviction. And so it all worked out. The sponsor came in. Funny, the sponsor that came in ended up becoming my partner and co-host for the first TV show I ever did. He spoke in Iowa. I got Kevin to speak in Iowa, so I paid for him to be there because who am I? I'm just some kid. Like he earned his success, and everybody wants his time. He doesn't owe me shit. And so what did I do? I paid a lot of money to get him to come to my event. I had him picked up. I wined and dined him, created a great experience. And then I did a business deal with him. We launched a book together, which ultimately led to a $100 million product. And then we did other deals together. And over now 7 years, I earned my way for the Friendship, Relationship, and Business Association to help run the company where we do deals. And so I tell that story because I earned the mentorship from a shark who's built over billion, I don't know if you've done probably 8 billion in sales, whatever it is. And so 22 companies now to over 100 million. I gained that mentorship because I earned my spot at the table, but I added value to them. And I think the problem most people do, and especially the younger generation, my generation below, is they feel everything, they should just get it. Shit isn't owed to you, you got to earn it. And I knew that I had to add value to that person. Like, who are your 10 people? Like, you want to go to battle? Who are the 10 people you want by you? Every year, I write down 10 names, and I say, how can I add value to them? How can I make them money? How can we help each other? And so Kevin was one of my people. And because of that, now we've made a lot of money together, and we're great friends. But that's just one example of the power of mentorship. One mentor led to the other. It took a matter of 3-4 years, but eventually became a reality.
Right. Man, that is absolutely fascinating. I think that
it's crazy now. I said the journey. I'm like, man, that's a
crazy
mofo.
This is fascinating. Yeah, I think that people tend to not pay attention enough to the byproducts of their efforts or their intentions.
Yeah.
Right. And I focus. Sometimes I obsess over the byproduct as opposed to the thing that's supposed to happen, right?
Yep.
So, for example, part of the business model is, as I've probably talked one-on-one with a lot of you guys, the business model for SoWal House, prime example, like revenue should be the byproduct of what we do. it's not the principle, it's the byproduct of what we do. And I think, establishing value, aspiring to have mentors, right? I believe in always have aspirations, right? So that am I moving closer to that aspiration or am I moving further away from it, right? And then what is the byproduct of that activity that I'm doing? What is the byproduct of this relationship? What is the byproduct of the time that I'm spending? Is the byproduct propellant, right? Or is it a headwind?
Well, I like how you look at it. So very let's say wealthy people or successful people or people that achieve things, they look at value. There's multiple forms of value. And I really think the value and the huge gold right now, even more so in life, is relationships. I mean, more so that you look at money, because the right relationships can propel you in so many ways, feeling more fulfilled, also more opportunity, but all these different things. And I think too many people are just focused on the dollar and what is the transactional side. But I look at what is the value in the experience, what is the value in the people I'm around, even in business. I don't care if I can make how much money. If it's a person that I don't align with and I don't think they're a good person, I don't care. I want to be in business and make money and be around people that are good people that really want to do good for the world and make an impact. Because at the end of the day, I think we're judged by that. Like, what impact did you make? It's not necessarily like, okay, I built this empire, which is great and you can do, but like, what impact are you making in the world? And so I value relationships, sitting here with you, with somebody that has the same thing. You put a shit ton of money in this place to create experiences for people to do stuff like this, which I respect you madly for. And so you're the kind of people I want to hang around with.
Hey, amen.
Yeah, I love that.
I appreciate that. Man, when the universe speaks, she does not whisper.
Exactly.
I'd like to open up the floor here for any questions for our audience. We have a microphone set up over there. If any of you have any questions that you'd like to ask to Brandon or I, just about these principles and sort of what we do to kind of get.
She's like, right.
Nice. Then we're happy to answer.
Hello? No. Sorry. Oh, this isn't on. Okay. Okay. I have 2 questions.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. One is, I know I want to talk to you more because I come from a big city, but I live in a small town now. But I have such big ideas.
Yeah.
How do I... do people even know this place exists? Honestly, in a weird way, a fun question. But how do you take your big ideas? I know you said that you come from a small town.
Yeah.
I heard that.
I had to
How
get
did
out
you
of the
take
town.
your big ideas and transpose that, bring that into the bigger world? I'm into video, so you're talking to someone that works in your field. How do you take your big ideas and take them to a big stage while living in a place that's considered a small town?
What a great question.
So answer that one and then we'll go to the next one. To answer that, I had to leave the small town.
Yeah.
I had to move out of my small town and I had to move to a bigger city.
Yeah.
I moved to Des Moines, Iowa.
But don't leave. But don't move.
Oh,
But don't
I
leave
know,
here.
That's
But
the
don't-
thing.
No, just kidding.
I'll tell you just my story, what I
Yeah.
did. And there's ways around it.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, you're here right now.
Right.
You're around the right people that can really open doors for you. So for one, I had to move to a different city. And then when I wanted to go all in on my first TV show called Ambitious Adventures, we got it. We were on Entrepreneur Network. We were on Facebook Watch before anybody really knew what that was.
Right.
And so I knew I had to move at that time, Orlando, Florida, because that's where my producer, co-host, partners were. So I moved there to be closer to them. I always moved to. I moved to St. Petersburg, Florida, 7 months ago to be closer to my business partner, and since then everything's exploded. And so you got to move to where the opportunity is. So that's one thing.
Dude, that was not what I wanted to hear. I'm from Los Angeles. I'm from Los Angeles and decided that I was into video once I got here.
But wait. But here's one thing I want to say. I love that, but here's the thing. Los Angeles, I never went to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I did my own way.
Yeah.
I did it. I funded, I created my own shows and platforms. And even gained equity in a network, but I did my own way.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily go to Hollywood. If you want to become a big actor,
Yeah, no.
I mean,
no.
You're that's probably going to be your route. But
that
so
leads
go
me
where
to my
go where
next.
the people are and go where the opportunity is, and find if there's like 5 people in an industry that if you got to know them as friends, they could change your life.
Yeah.
Research them, study them.
Yeah.
Understand how you can add value to them, and actually want to do it with not expecting anything in return. And I promise you reciprocity will kick in.
Yeah.
That's such great advice.
Yeah, I'm all about that.
Second question.
Literally my life. Like right now, you've just described it. My second question leads to, I feel like people call themselves a serial entrepreneur. I would call myself a serial creative, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of things, a lot of ideas up here. How do you, I feel like you're almost like this, like how do you pick which direction to take an idea? You say go all in on something, go for something, but like how do you know which idea that is in your head is the one to go for?
So I believe action
Yeah.
will help you figure that out. I started in crowdfunding. I wanted at that time, this is 8 years ago, I wanted to be the top crowdfunding expert in the world. But here's what happened. As I took action in that endeavor, I found out, by the way, that one of the main reasons that raised money was the power of telling a powerful story through the power of a video.
Yeah.
So we were creating videos. And then once I found that out, I'm like, I want to get more into video. So then I went all in and I created Accelerate Media Group, which led to creating our own shows.
Yeah.
And so what I'm getting at is when you take action towards something and you may not know exactly is this the right idea, you're eventually getting to a position where you're like, oh, this actually is my idea. And then once you go after your idea and once you find success in that field, other opportunities come to you. And for me, here's what I do. I have a portfolio of businesses. But my thing is, for one, how do I know if it's a yes or no? One, I got to align with the person I'm partnering with.
Yeah.
Do I believe in them? Do I believe in the product? Is it making somebody's life better? But also, is it something, everything I'm looking to achieve in my life, can they supplement in some way? Can I justify going after that idea? Will it supplement my ultimate goal in life?
Right.
And if it does, it's a yes.
Then you're
and if
yes.
it doesn't, it's a no. And so sometimes it's a fine line.
Yeah.
But that's what I would tell you. As you're
Yeah.
going after your ideas, just keep going, keep putting in the work, being around the good people, and eventually something's going to come and it's be like, I got to do that.
Yeah.
Like you just know and you got to do it.
It's like a lightning bolt.
Yeah. What are you, 20? How old are you?
Oh my God.
I know you're not
that's
supposed to
so
ask
sweet.
women that, but you look young.
Thank you. No, I'm we're in our 30s now.
Well, that being said,
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, some of the most successful people had to start
Yeah.
over from scratch at like
Yeah.
70 years old. Like you have so much opportunity ahead of you. You could fail 100 times
Yeah.
and wake up and start all over again and be good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're here. So
Yay.
thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Part of that is the notion. There's that old saying: people can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Right? I think that the phrase that I really have fallen in love with, because I used to be like obsessed with perfection, obsessed with like these are the directions, so I must plot my course. And anytime I was off course, it was like like I'm definition of off course is not good, right?
Yeah.
But then I realized like throughout my entire life, I've been off-roading this bitch the whole time.
Four-wheel
right?
drive.
Yeah, I've been zigzagging and ping-ponging and doing the thing, right? So now I've kind of settled in on imperfect but directionally accurate.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I want to go here. My aspiration is this, and I don't care about the plotting the course anymore. I just say, am I moving toward that goal, or am I moving away from it? Right. And I judge all of my friendships, my business relationships, how I spend my day with, am I getting closer to my personal aspirational goals, or am I moving further away from them? And I adjust accordingly. Right?
I love
But
that. We have the same way of looking.
It
Yeah.
seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I no longer plot courses. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Hey guys. I love the fact, by the way, I love the fact that these guys got together.
Yeah.
So,
We love that.
yeah. I'm a super connector, so that's what I do.
That's
Anyway, I got a quick question. Listen, I'm 52 now. I'm all about biohacking, like life. So what kind of entrepreneur biohacks do you guys have, like, to really discover and focus productivity? Because, you've been through some stuff. You're the ripe age of 32, so you got a lot to share. But Brian. Brian is our other business partner. Brandon's my business partner, so I like to ask
You give me
questions.
shit
He's like
all
my
day.
little brother. So,
Yeah.
what kind of things have you, what can you share with everybody that would help kind of productivity? Because we all get caught up in things, right? Like life. I have kids. I have 4 of them. I have to manage a lot of things. So, what can you guys share in that part of life and entrepreneurship? Because it sounds like everybody here is doing something. We got to figure out how to cut through the noise, right? The pressure, the noise. What can you guys share on that?
I'll let him go first, but I'll first just one quick
I-
note.
I-
I have no kids, so
yeah.
that's what
I mean, you have to be. It's okay to have ADHD, right? Most serial entrepreneurs do.
Yeah, I do.
And that's why we're serial entrepreneurs, right? Because we
Wait, what'd you say?
drill into exactly, yeah. we drill into all these different things, right? And that's a superpower,
It is.
right? So long as, and this is the crux, and this is the thing that you have to get very, very good at. You have to be very good at prioritization,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's okay to have multiple different things that you want to go after, but you have to be very disciplined with prioritization. And prioritization actually frees you up to do as many things as you want to do, right? So I've got things that man, I really want to do this, but it's at the bottom of the stack.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get it done. And maybe over time it rises up in priority. Just because it's a low priority doesn't mean that I don't want to do it. But I've just learned to, as best as I can, be very diligent about prioritization. So that's my key.
I like that. I just jokingly I don't have kids, and I in a way kind of did that purposely because I saw my friends have kids and
then their lives suck.
well, they told me that some of them, but I this is what I didn't want, but then I had friends that said it'll change your life and you'll be more motivated than ever before, and you've never loved something more than anything before, and so I see that side of it. And part of me is maybe I'll have kids. I'm 32, I still got time, but I look at I don't know where I was going with that with the kid thing. I mean, part of me just looking at that, part of me thinks maybe I'll have kids one day, but this is what I didn't want to happen. I didn't want to have a kid and then be either 1, absent father because I was going after my dreams, or 2, have the kid be the reason one day that's why I didn't achieve something. And maybe that sounds bad, and coming from somebody that's never had kids, that's just my perspective.
Yeah.
At 32, I have no kids. But the biohack, for me, real simple. I like to wake up early, but exercise. For me, it completely changes my mind. I could wake up and sometimes I just feel like the most negative motherfucker there is. And seriously, I feel like I imposter syndrome. Who am I? What have I succeeded at? And I feel like the day's gonna be shit. And for me to change that state of mind is I either go for a run, I go to the gym, I work out, and my mind completely changes and I'm ready to conquer the day. And it's proven, when you exercise of any kind, it actually works a part of your brain, engages it, which allows you to be more creative and more motivated. And so my hack is exercise. And then the other thing is, it's really important every day, I set an intention. Even here, coming here, I set an intention. I'm going to have a great time here, going to connect with some great people, give some books out, but I want to make sure I do the best performance I can here. So that's my intention. Every day I have an intention. What's the one thing I can accomplish? How's it get me closer to my goal? And I really believe if you have that every single day, it adds up. Too many people get caught up in their day and they're doing things. And so that's mine. Hopefully that helps. And thank you for the question,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question. And we spoke before you went on about
Yes.
community and building community, which I love.
Yeah.
I work in real estate, and that's what my business is all about. It's about bringing people together and finding the right buyer merging the right buyer with the
Yep.
right seller. I'm really jumping into with a lot of my energy with social media marketing and
Yep.
specifically video. Who are guys that you see in that space that are really nailing it with what they're doing and gaining traction or building community themselves?
It's a good question. Thank you for the question. There's two things. I'm going to spit off just one thing that comes to my mind. I'm actually speaking in York area at an event called Decoding the Disruptors event on April 21st, which is full of real estate agents, and it's primarily around like video and stuff for agents. So that's just one quick note to share with you. The second thing is this. Here's where I think a lot of real estate agents make the mistake is they're not willing to share about their story. They're not willing to go deeper into who they are as a human, as a being. And here's who do people buy from? Who they like, trust, and know. I sold real estate a long time ago. I now am partner and with Gerard in a brokerage, so I'm back in the real estate game again. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to focus on what I do, and everybody, whether real estate or whatnot, is share your story. Just like today, I shared some stories of hardship. I shared stories of things in my life, and I'm sure all of you in here connected with me on some level through a story, whether it was a small town, whether it was a hardship, whatever it is. And so the more you can share your story about who you are, what you do, how you help people, your beliefs, and just repeating that. And when you do that, people will really like you as a person. You're not just another real estate agent that's trying to get a commission after selling somebody's home. It really is as simple as that. I've worked with so many real estate agents over the years, and they struggle with that. They want to be like just this business real estate selling homes, but open up the doors and really show who you are as a person. If I was you, that's what I would do. And I would also invest money in a local videographer, and I would film content every week.
Yeah.
I would film content every week, like Gary Vee style, almost like share about you, your background, share value, share your journey, share valuable advice in real estate, and do it consistently. Have them edit it. You put it on social media, do some paid ads, target this region. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you make a mistake.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
I think the key word is authenticity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
People
that's
love
the key
that.
word,
It's
like
like
authenticity.
it just so many people want to put up this like wall, just
Right.
be you. Authenticity is what people want. And the more you can share about who you are, you got to know how to sell real estate too. But it's like the more you can share who you are and your passion for helping people, and also sharing stories of your clients and their success stories, that is what gets people attracted to you.
Yeah. It's just a shame that you can't outsource authenticity.
You can't. You can't.
It's a damn
You
shame.
just got it.
Right. You can't even fake it.
No.
Like it's you're authentic or you're not authentic. It's very binary.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very.
But it does, to your point though, it's uncomfortable sometimes to like share personal stuff. It doesn't have to be like your whole life story, but to some people, and I think I was this way in a previous life for sure, where it's just kind of uncomfortable to story tell about your past, and it doesn't matter if it was something bad or something good, right? So I think when people experience like the barrier to like, why can't I be more authentic? I am an authentic person, but you put a camera on me or you put me in front of a client and I turn into a box,
Yeah.
right? I think that's just something that you just kind of have to.
Well, here, as a producer, what do? We
Yeah.
turn on cameras, we put people in front of the camera, and we got to make them feel trustworthy enough to be able to be the steward to tell their story. And so you put a lot of trust in. And so for me, we're putting people in front of the camera. We got to open them up to tell their story. And so what I found out is, for one, it's like a therapeutic session for them to share. And when the cameras are on, they likely share more than normally would. And when you take that story and put it in a video format and distribute it, you can help more people. But I think every single person in this room has a story to share, whether you overcome an obstacle, you have some kind of defining moment, some underdog story. you've achieved something or whatever it is about your life, I believe we all have the power to share that, whether you share it on a video or not, or you share it with a few people at once, or maybe speaking or through writing. It's very life-changing. And the person that inspired me the most is my wife. She's on the cover of this book. She was my host. The recent Emmy we won was called Red Flags, and Red Flags was about her story. And so at 13 years old, my wife got addicted to meth. She was a gymnastics star. She won all these different things. And then one day she was with her friend and went to this house, and she looked up to this guy and he said, "Do you want a hit?" It was meth. She became addicted to meth, and she went from like, she hardly weighed anything, completely like messed up. And she did what you call like scared to death. She had a basically like scared herself to death where she never did drugs again. But the next thing that rolled into her life was a boy, and that became an 8-year abusive relationship where she left multiple times, very abusive. One day she packed her car up and she threw everything she could in the car, and she left and never looked back. And so then she met me 8 months later, and then we became what we became. But that story, we put it into a documentary, and it's the most powerful thing I've ever been a part of, and I cry every time I watch it. But I share this with you is because that story impacts people, and it can impact people's lives. And think about all the abused women out there that could leave that person. They might leave that bad person because they watch the story and see that my wife did it. Or what about those people that are addicted to drugs and they can't leave, but then they watch this and that gives them the choice to leave. And so think about that story, but think about your own story of how your story, if you share it with the right people, it might save their life. And so this is why my passion behind this and all that stuff is because it's making an impact.
Yeah.
And just know, like, you're holding a story that could literally save somebody's life.
Yeah. Well, brother, you being here, I tell you, it's made an impact on me.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
So
Likewise.
Yeah,
Likewise.
So I just really thank you so much. So with that, we will wrap up this segment of public service with the first episode, Brandon T. Adams. Round of applause for this guy. And thank you all again for your support, for coming to SoWal House, and just being awesome and supporting the cool things that we do here. We aspire just to be a place that you all want to come and hang out at. So thank you all, and thanks again, buddy.
Thank you.
This is a lot of fun.
Well, this is good.
And
And see.
scene. That's a wrap.
Who wants a drink?